your family members feel about the jobs that you did?
My dad, the only person I ever talked to about my initial career is my father, and he just didn't understand what it was, like most people didn't understand what MIS really was. So he was supportive. He was curious at first, and he was supportive. And then when I took this current job that I have now, I talked to him about it, and he was very supportive. He says, "Good." So there wasn't really much controversy with what I chose in my career. So he's always, my father and mother have always been supportive, even if they didn't understand. So
I used to be a cross-cultural teacher, and then when I started writing, it was my parents that encouraged me and helped me edit my first book, and then that came my first foray into writing, and that was published about the time that Nate and I got together. So yeah, our families have been our family is very supportive right now. We're renting out our house and living with my family, and they have a little apartment in the basement, so that we can travel together and so that we can go home. Nate hasn't been back to Africa in 15 years, and neither have I, so this will be a big deal for us to go. And having my family give up Christmas with us and all of that, they're being very good about that because because they lived overseas. They understand that you can go a long time without seeing family and friends, and they're being very supportive so that we can make this trip and go and spend some time.
What was it like traveling so much as children?
I enjoyed it. I had no problem with it. I actually looked forward to it.
You love airplanes, always have.
Yeah, it was airplanes and just doing something different. It was. I can't remember a time where I had an issue with traveling. Some kids do, and some of my siblings did, but I actually spent 7th grade being homeschooled and traveling with my father the entire year. So. And I enjoyed it, and that's why I'm addicted to it now. So,
It stands out some of your biggest memories because are the smells and the sounds and the different languages, and it's the most intense way to really walk in another person's shoes. You understand people on a very different level, and it also makes you realize how much we have in common. We've seen our daughter make friends at the playground with people with little kids from all different ages and nationalities, and she's discovering that kids are kids wherever you live, and they like to laugh, they like to kick a ball, and I think it's finding those universalities and having those common experiences that are really thrilling, and waking up to a new experience can make you really feel alive and feel like you're a part of something. Mm-hmm.
Yes.
What kind of books do you write, and why are you writing?
Sure. I started, my first book that I wrote was a children's book about a little refugee boy from the Sudan, because when I was working with Sudanese refugee kids in Chicago when I was going to school, and they were trying to learn English, so I would go to the library and I was trying to find books with little people that looked like them, that were the same color, or they were dressed the same, and I was having a hard time. So for college, I wrote about a little story about a little boy that comes to America and described some of the things the experiences that we had both coming and going. Like I remember landing in Chicago when we came home from Africa, and I wasn't used to cold walls, and I wasn't used to the gray and the color, or having to zip up your coat before you put your mittens on. The little story, so I'd put my mittens on, and then I'd have to figure out how to close my coat. All these little stories that I put into this little refugee boy's experience, and that's what kind of excited me about writing. And then I lost a fiance in college to a traumatic brain injury, and so it was writing about those experiences that I put down on paper, and that's why I came back to Cedar Rapids for about 6 months to write that. And it was an amazing experience to be able to write about that and give it to other people to read so that they can, if somebody else is going through something similar, you can kind of speak for them, or if you give voice to a lot of feelings in the experience. But wasn't a happily ever after in the story. It was just a very, it was like bringing closure to that time in my life. And so actually when we got it published, the publisher asked Nate to write the epilogue at the end and kind of write the happily ever after. And the happily ever after has come from helping others with the book. It's been a really neat part of it. But that just got me started on writing. And so now I'm hoping to do more about our African experience, more of our travels, and so that other people can get a view into the world that we live in.
Oh, also, do you sell the books?
Yep.
Do they sell very well?
Very, very well is a good question. I'm blessed to have it be out there. It was picked up by Zondervan Publishing, and you can buy it on Amazon or in bookstores. And it's not a Harry Potter, that's for sure, but it's been a neat experience for me.
What in that story? What was the title?
The book was Pieces of Glass, and it's by Sarah Kay.